Well, look, I mean, I grew up there. It's a great place to be from. No one would have predicted that I would be, governor. I graduated in 1997. So what is that? 21 years later, here we are. So, but Pinellas County is near and dear to my heart, and I think that they basically have a hometown guy as governor. So I think that's a good thing for the area.
How was your phone call with Mr. Gillum?
Great, very gracious, and I told him, I was like, look, you're a hell of an adversary. I don't think any other Democrat could have done what you did. And I was like, if you're going to run in 2022, just run against Rubio. Don't run against me.
What was your say to all the supporters through this time? Watching the returns, was a razor-thin margin. Take us through what the night was like for you.
My wife and I basically just tuned it out, to be honest with you. It's like, what are we going to do? Like, I have no control over it. I was not following every little county. Basically, we saw the turnout numbers that we got today, and we thought we would win. We knew it wasn't going to be a 10-point victory, but we were confident that we turned out the voters we need to do it, and you just have to let the chips fall where they may. And so it worked out for us. I think it was a really good effort. But, like I said on the stage, I worked hard. Casey worked hard. We couldn't have worked any harder, and I was happy with whatever happened.
What do you say to all the supporters that came out for you?
What's that?
All the supporters that came out today and around the state
wonderful. And when we were going through this, it's not always easy. Campaigns have these ups and downs. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. But I always thought, I got people who could be doing other things with their life. They're out knocking on doors, talking to their neighbors. They're making phone calls. I mean, dedicating huge amounts of time and effort to this. I was like, I cannot let these people down. I mean, I have got to run this thing through the tape. I got to bring home a victory. And so it means a lot to me that people would be willing to do that.
How crucial is President Trump to your victory, sir?
Well, look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, no one thought I had a chance to win when I first got in the race. And I tried to get support from as many, influential people as possible. And I was not necessarily the safe bet, back during the primary. And to his credit, he thought I'd be a good leader. This one, I think the rallies were helpful because we juiced up some turnout. But we also did well in other parts of the state, and I overperformed what he did in 2016 in places like Miami-Dade. So, there's a whole bunch of factors, but obviously, I thank him for his support.
How important was your moderate tone on climate change, sir?
Well, I think the first priority in terms of what's really urgent for Florida is really getting us on a strong track on the water quality and the environment. So we'll be taking action very quickly. I've talked to the president about this. He understands it. He cares about Florida. And I told him that, some of this infrastructure needs to get going. We just got the reservoir authorized. There's a lot we need to do there. And so it'll be a top priority for me. We're also looking forward to appointing the 3 Supreme Court justices. And we're going to be looking through that. And these will be very, very smart, very principled people, but they're going to understand that their role is to apply the law, not to rewrite the law. If you want to write laws, then go run for the legislature. Your job's to apply it, apply the Constitution, and I think that that'll be really good for us.
Congressman Gates said that when...
Well, I think that as in the Congress, I was very active in the different stuff with the port, with the dredging and all that. Now the state has an important role in that, so I'm going to continue to support that effort like Governor Scott has done, because I think that really opens up the potential for a lot of economic activity and a lot of economic growth. I'll also be somebody who, as the governor, will be a big advocate for our active duty mission in places like NAS Jacksonville and Naval Station Mayport. I've always supported bringing a carrier to Mayport. I know there's things that have to be done for that, but I'm going to keep doing that. And you know what? The president will listen to that stuff because he knows that I know Florida, and he knows I'm not just going to do that to do it.
Two more, guys. Two more. Two more. What are your plans for the next couple of days?
Well, transition. I mean, when I stepped down from Congress, part of it was I knew I wasn't going to be making the votes while I was campaigning if I really wanted to give the campaign my all. But even more significant was thinking after the election, you have to put together a government. I mean, that's a lot of work. And we've been doing this quietly behind the scenes, not to be presumptuous, but just because you don't have enough time, you got to start doing it. And so we've been doing that. So we're going to work very hard on that. All the agency heads, obviously the Supreme Court justices are going to be part of that process just because the openings are going to be there for us. So we're working really hard. And I just knew there was no way I could go up for the lame duck session for 4 weeks and neglect the transition. The people of Florida need me here digging in on this.
How do you unite Floridians? How do you unite Florida in a pretty close race?
Well, look, I think you turn the page on the political stuff. I mean, I felt I was unfairly demagogued in a lot of different things. But you know what? Let's turn the page. I'll work with people that were trying to defeat me. I mean, at some point, the campaigns have to stop. And I think we have an opportunity to get a lot of stuff done. When you talk about environment, I think that there's a lot of people who are various parties who support that. You know, if you start talking about things like some of the educational initiatives, I think you're going to get a lot of support for that. And I do think, you know, even though we had tax differences in this campaign, you know, I think the broad swath of Floridians want to keep our low tax environment, and they will support efforts to try to drive more investment into Florida. It's going to mean more jobs. I think it's going to mean better tax base for us. So there's a lot that can be done. But I don't care if you were against me. I don't care if you said nasty things about me. Hell, when I won the primary, I worked with people who were attacking me there. So we'll turn the page and we'll work forward.
Last one, we're done.
One more. Oh, that we're done?
Yeah,
All right, thanks guys. See ya.